What is up? What is up? It's another Friday. It's another Friday. I hope y'all had a good week. For real, for real. Because we got some craziness to talk about. But remember, it's never about fear. It's never about getting scared. We're just talking about the news. Because we're grown adults. And that's how we share information, is by talking about it. Can you believe that? Can you believe that's how it works? People gotta talk to each other. Oh my god. Oh lordy. Well, got some crazy stuff for you. This right here. This is like, there's some like crazy stuff that I've been like researching here on X, and like I don't know if I'm gonna go into it here on this channel, but on YouTube for sure I couldn't. Maybe I could on Rumble, and definitely on X, because you know X is awesome like that. I mean, that's where I'm finding this information anyway. That's why it's in the bookmark. But anyway, let's go to this. So there is some wild shit, and like especially here recently with what the Supreme Court did. But before I even want to go into that, I want to go into some other things. I might not have too much, to be quite honest with you, because most of the news has just been Trump this week. I mean, I feel like that's just been. I just gotta turn it off, y'all, because last time I watched back, it was just like way too loud. Let me see. I got that turned up. Okay. But yeah. First, let's start off with this. As I know, the left is crazy. Oh no. I don't want to go into that yet because that I could tie that into the other thing I want to talk about. So let's see. Are we just gonna? No. Okay. Here we go. So the left right now is outraged by the fact that Trump has allowed like 59 people who are from South Africa to come and under refugee status, because like they're literally being hunted down and things of that nature. And like I want to show you this before I show you something that I think is actually more freaky and scary. But yeah, that's like related to this, South African thing. But first, let me show you this just to prepare you, because like this is right now, this video is basically them, the South African government, which is like mostly black, because like that's the um largest by population race in the area, in the nation. And so they're basically what you'll be seeing is a majority group like setting up certain rules and things for a minority. Just keep that in mind. And yeah, just watch it, okay? Just watch it.
And all their inner circles here in Parliament who went to the United States to spin a narrative of victimhood of white people being murdered by blacks, mobilizing the United States government to interfere in the domestic affairs of our country. What measures, if any, have you used to scrutinize these treasonous acts of white right-wing racist extremist movements, especially in relations to how they are funded, so as to protect the imminent threat of civil war in South Africa? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kersa. Honorable Minister, your response, please. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. As indicated earlier, the law enforcement agencies are investigating the Treasonous Act of Misinformation and also that which is provided for in the, I forgot the right naming of the act that talks about treason in the country.
She can't even repeat the law that she wants to use against these people that are talking about what they're doing. But basically, I don't know if you could understand. Like, sorry, I started talking in the middle of it, but I hear some funny accents and I gotta repeat it. I guess that's just the Texan in me. I don't know. But basically, what's going on is that anybody who starts talking about, that's in South Africa, starts talking about, how the government is treating the white population and the white farmers, and how this certain political group is treating white farmers, they will basically slap you with treason. That's fucking crazy. And like, remember, this is the majority of the country, right? Making these rules about a minority group, okay? And okay, so the equivalent of this would be something like Trump and the whole right wing start creating laws about like, you can't talk about like anything the administration is doing, and if you don't like it, you definitely can't voice your opinion, and we will throw you in jail, and not only throw you in jail, but we'll slap you with treason. Like, that's wild. I don't even know how to absorb that information, to be honest. Like, what's going on in South Africa is pretty fucking heinous. I just can't be any more clear
and
than
all
that, to be honest.
their inner
That's
circles
wild.
here in
But what's really spooky about it is this clip. Hold on, let me look for it. This isn't exactly what I'm looking for, but this looks like it's right up our alley. So let's see what's going on.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard.
Hold on, let me rewind it real quick.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
There's also another politician. He's the president of the Black First Land First political party, the BLF. And he spoke at a rally a couple of years back in which he urged the crowd to kill.
So, yeah, you can see there's like some really crazy shit going on down there. Hold on, I'm trying to look for it. Oh, here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen like videos of like communist struggle sessions, and it's like really awesome that I found this clip by Lily Tang, because like, if there's anybody that knows about communism, it's Lily Tang Williams. This woman actually lived through Mao and was part of Mao's brigade until like in like the 1980s or 1990s. I'm not quite sure. She was like introduced to like rock, and her story is really cool because she was introduced to rock and roll music, and it totally opened up her world. Like, what American, freedom was like, and she wanted more of that. And so like, she kept going to these like little secret parties where they would listen to American rock and roll, and they would talk about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and talk about freedom. And she said that she never heard of such a concept, of these concepts, and it totally lit her mind on fire. And that's what, drove her to do everything she could to get to America, because at the time when she came to America, it was completely forbidden, pretty much. Well, it's not even forbidden, right? So like during her time, you would have to have like deep connections with the CCP, and you would only be able to visit. And when you're visiting there, it's like, it's all this like red tape stuff. And at the time, she was just like, a poor student. And she basically, no, I don't think it was like basically, I think like literally she'd escaped China. Like she got the out of there. But anyway, when she's sharing something, like it really means something, because she's, really concerned. And like I love the fact how she's so anti-communist and things of that nature. But yeah, so like first let's listen and I'll explain what's going on. So, what they're chanting there is kill the Boer, shoot the farmer, or something of that nature. Shoot the Boer, kill the farmer, something like that in that order. And they're talking about these white farmers that are in South Africa, and it's like, why are you trying to kill farmers? And they're trying to say like the small group of white farmers are oppressing this large group of black people. Like, look at all these black people. Look at them. Look at them. I mean, as far as the eyes can see, man, in that arena, it's filled with black people chanting, kill white farmers. And there's only like a group of what, like 60 that came here, or 59, whatever. And like, who else is left over there? I know there has to be a small amount. What really concerns me is, like, I don't know if you saw in that last video I was showing you. So like, now that I showed you that, like, that's what I really wanted to show you. But going back to the bookmarks, I don't know if you noticed, but the guy that's
Your response, please.
this guy is white as a ghost. Okay, I can only imagine what's going on through his head while he's sign language on all this crap. Oh Lord, because it's they're having this whole like anti-white ideology, so they're gonna like move on from farmers to like something else, and from what I understand, there was another nation within the continent of Africa that had a similar issue, and pretty much almost everybody almost starved to death because they got rid of all their white farmers, and none of them knew how to like farm and like do agriculture and things of that nature. Like, that's wild as hell. Like, and that's just communism for you. You know what I mean? Like, when you start doing like some weird ass central planning, and you start like trying to take out like whole ethnic groups and things of that nature, especially if like the ethnic group within your society tends to gravitate towards a specific job. It's not like that job is going to be filled up with people who have those skills, because the people who have those skills was that specific ethnic group that you just chased out. Now, with that said, this is the same argument the left uses whenever when they start talking about there's not going to be any farmers left for us whenever you get rid of all the illegal aliens. Like, first of all, I think that's like super racist, because I think there's actually a lot more farmers. And I think that's actually the big issue, if I'm understanding correctly, is that there's people that are farmers and they're getting pushed out of these jobs because of people who are taking these jobs at such low rates that they can't compete with that. So you have like generations and generations of people who can't like do this job, like, because they're being shoved out by corporations and their their managers who are taking illegal aliens under the tables and stuff like that. It's a horrible thing, and I really feel like that anybody who takes in illegal aliens in a job, like as a employee, like first of all, the person needs to lose their job, and then I think that company needs to be sold and dismantled, or at least something close to that. There has to be like a penalty or something, a fine, and it has to really hurt, because like the fact that you're doing this to the American people, and the fact, like, that's real treason. That's real treason. The people in South Africa, they've been there for like hundreds of years, man. Like, for a long time, and it's been like this. And and that's why in those areas, whenever you start getting rid of the white farmers, people start starving to death. And that's just so god awful. And it's and I really truly believe this, that people wouldn't have these specific ideas if these people who have these crazy ass communist ideas didn't go in there and start feeding their heads with this bullshit. Because you see the same thing that's happening in our culture. So our culture was very anti-communist for a long time, and like we went through the whole like phase of desegregation and dismantling that, and being very critical of communism and all that. And like we got to a really awesome point, in the 90s and stuff like that. And then it just like went downhill after, like during Obama's like second term, I believe, or like the beginning of it or something. I don't know. It just seems like race relations just like went down the hole by that point. So, but what I'm trying to say is like, it seems like anytime you get this like weird communist globalist ideology, you start getting these race problems. I mean, obviously, because look at America now, look at South Africa. Like, holy crap, we haven't seen racism like this in a long time. Holy shit, people just feel like fucking love each other. Like, seriously. The next thing I think is really funny is this. Now, what do y'all think about this? Okay, so I was watching Tim Pool, like, I don't know, sometime last week. Or was it this week or last week? I'm not sure. Well, it has to be this week, right? Because I'm using this. But I guess it was Monday. But yeah, so Monday or Tuesday. And of course you have these guys here, and it looks like they have something that like they shouldn't be having. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are suspecting this is cocaine right here, and this is a Coke spoon. And I'm really willing to believe that. You know what I mean? And especially like how weird and dodgy they're acting. Like they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, and they just got caught by their parents. You know what I mean? Like, I had the, spoon, whatever that is. Okay, so like people are saying like, oh, that's just a tissue. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'd believe that. I get it. You know? It's that time of year. The flowers are blooming, trees, birds, blah, blah, blah. It's spring, you know? We're in summer now. We're almost in summer, pretty much. And, you know, I can see that. Allergies, whatever. But then they got a fucking tiny spoon sitting over here. Come on. What is that for? Is it like, do they got like personal drops of like Kool-Aid or something that they're drinking? And like, they just like, because they're like fucking fancy European boys, they like put it in with their like silver spoon. I don't know. It really looks like a fucking silver Coke spoon or something. Bruh. And he grabs it. Look. And then, like, you see the face of Macron. Look, watch. He's like, and then he's looking at that guy. He's like, we get cut. Okay, bro. They're cokeheads, okay? I've seen cokeheads in my life, okay? Seen plenty of them. That's definitely a cokehead. But, you know, on Timcast, they were saying like, oh, that's a tissue and stuff like that. But I really think that it was so obvious that I think the cast was just like fucking with me, fucking with us, you know, the audience. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's one that's really interesting before we get into like, you know, the Trump territory. But Hakeem Jeffries, a bigwig in the Democrat Party, was found to be connected to the freak-offs and has actually been to these freak-off parties several times. Man, I freaking knew it. I mean, like, first of all, I've said so many times, like, I feel a little weird that I have to announce it, but it's not that I feel like I have to announce it, but I feel like it's just relevant to what I'm about to say. But, you know, I'm a homosexual. And so, you know, sometimes, like, most of the time I can, like, pick out, like, other gay dudes. Like, it's just really obvious to me. I don't know what it is. Like, they call it gaydar, you know? I think it's more like, you know, we just recognize, like, certain behaviors and things of that nature and like epithets, probably like how we use like hands a lot when we talk and like move our head and body and stuff. But anyway, I always thought this guy was like kind of fruity. This guy right here, Hakeem Jeffries. I think it's just like really obvious for the Democrat Party. You know, because they all act pretty fruity. Which is ironic to say because, I mean, for a long time from like the 90s and early 2000s, you had Republicans like caught in like bathrooms with other dudes and things of that nature. Like, Republicans haven't been too straight themselves. But what I find interesting is that he's been part of these freak-off parties, which is I found really odd because, like, you know, Jeffrey Epstein was usually the guy who got all of the, got all of the like politicians and people who were in like the political world. I didn't expect him to be gravitating towards P. Diddy. So it'd be interesting to find out like how they ended up being connected. So I'm just gonna read this. After this point, Diddy claimed Rep. Jeffries was allegedly a recurring guest of honor at covert Communist Party freak-offs, What? Oh my God, I didn't even read that part before. And often insisted on the presence of young Hispanic male performers costumed as flamboyant versions of Fidel Castro. You want to be spanked down by Daddy Fidel Castro. Or no, like, oh, he probably wanted to spank down Daddy Fidel Castro. But anyway, complete with glitter covered fatigues and choreographed cigar routines themed around exaggerated communist nostalgia. Sources familiar with the investigation say the parties began with theatrical and controversial acts, including staged flag burning performances meant to lampoon Cold War hysteria. This is going to get even crazier as the trial progresses. Buckle up, because the trial is just getting started. Anything seems to be possible with P. Diddy. These freak ass parties. That is just wild. Holy crap. Bro, can you just imagine a conservative being like that, right? And then they start and they start doing whole ass Civil War reenactments. Oh my God. As I mean, God, it's completely depraved. So I'm wondering how true this is, because this is so wild and out there. I'm wondering if P. Diddy is just trying to extend his time, out of jail or anything like that. I don't know what he's trying to do with this. If this is fake, if this is, man, this is so weird. It has to be true. It just has to be, man. Let's see if there's anything else. No, that's about it. But the P. Diddy scandal is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Let me see. Is this all? Oh, okay. Here we go. This one, I'll just let Tim Pool tell you. But, like I've been saying forever, shit's happening with the sun. You got to prepare in some way or another. If you believe it, there's a lot of people who don't, which is cool, whatever. I sort of believe it. I don't know if I believe it totally, but it does concern me, because there is a lot of evidence behind it that's that is true. That is happening. You know what I mean? And it's been like that for a long time. I started believing it way before we started having these weird occurrences. Whole cities shutting down and stuff like that. I remember back whenever it was 2014 and stuff like that, and birds started acting weird in parking lots, in all parking lots, not just in random parts of God having patterns. And then you started finding patches of dead birds, they just fall out of the ground. And I was like, okay, something weird is happening. And I was looking into it, and that's when I figured out there's something going on with the magnetic field and the poles and whatnot. And it all has to do with the sun and how the galactic center flips its poles. And so therefore everything in the galaxy, their pole switch, which causes all kinds of crazy things. That's another thing. They found they got their first picture of an aurora on Mars. And that's really crazy, because Mars has no magnetosphere, okay? It has no atmosphere almost whatsoever. And the fact that you got an aurora out of it, and if I'm thinking correctly, Mars is like the first planet right after Earth, something like that. And so for it to get like a nice aurora like that, like that's just crazy to me because like man, it's like so much further than the Earth, and it doesn't even have a freaking magnetosphere or atmosphere to really talk about. You know, that's like one of the things that you're gonna have to figure out if we're gonna like fucking start putting people on Mars. Is like, how are we gonna have a fucking atmosphere and everything, and how are we gonna be protected from like all kinds of crazy solar radiation and things like that? So, you know, Elon will have his hands busy with that if we make it. If we make it after the crazy the poles flipping and everything. And it's really interesting because like the poles are moving. They have been moving for a long time. So it's not like this is like all complete bullshit. Like, and you know, it's really amazing how long I've been watching this because there was a long time where they were there was like NASA scientists trying to debunk this guy named Ben, and he's like he does this thing called Space Weather News, and he's like just really amazing. He's, you know, a great scientist, you know, from what I can understand. And so you know, they've been trying to debunk him for a long time, but actually he's like made it to where NASA's solar science has progressed like really far with Ben's research, I believe, because they have like cracked the code on some things, and they're like starting to understand how to like predict earthquakes and stuff like that. Like Ben has been doing way before them, but they're starting to do it now, and they're starting to get more advanced with it. They're starting to use like their technology and things like that, and they have on their level that I'm sure Ben doesn't have himself, but I'm sure he wishes, you know. But I really don't know anything like that. I don't know the inside baseball of his stuff, so you know, don't quote me on anything. But with that said, there's more stuff going on. So, well, you know, we all know about the billionaires and their bunkers, but I think this has a little bit more stuff, and that's why I wanted to share this with y'all.
Talking to Ben Davidson, he's the space weather guy. Are you familiar with him by chance?
No.
Space weather guy. He said, similarly, we saw Puerto Rico had all their power knocked out the week prior. So what he surmises is that the magnetosphere has weakened because we are in the midst of a polar shift, and that it's not solar flares, it's just normal solar activity is penetrating the planet.
I see, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
You know, this whole idea of a pole shift, I find it to be compelling. I do. I do believe we are in a period of time called a Suntelia, and this is 1,000-year period of time, and this goes back to the ancient Greeks, all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Mesopotamians, in which cataclysm will befall within these 1,000 years. And this is based on the zodiac. This is what the zodiac tracks. The ancients knew this. It tracks cataclysm, like civilization ending cataclysm. And I think it's happened many times before in the Earth's past, and we are scheduled, we're within that period of time. And whether it's a pole shift or whether it's a, like I said, an object coming into the solar system, I do believe something is going to happen before long. And before long could mean in the next few hundred years or 500 years.
What about the 2033 asteroid?
Apophis?
Is that its name?
Is it really?
Yeah.
I think that's serious. They're calling it Apophis.
I think
it's not called Apophis. It's Apophis. And the mentioning of Apophis is really interesting if you know anything about ritual magic, because that gets into the analysis of the keyword.
It's called Apophis. Oh, if that's one you're referring
to.
Who came up with that? Yeah, that's supposedly, and maybe they've readjusted the calculation. Isn't it supposed to pass closer to the Earth, like between the moon and the Earth?
This says the next approach close to Earth will be 2028, which is not a concern, but there is an estimated 2.3% chance of impact in 2032.
2036, April 13th.
Wow.
So Apophis would pass through a gravitational keyhole estimated to be 800 meters in diameter. This is Wikipedia, which would have set up a future impact exactly 7 years later on Easter Sunday, April 13th, 2036.
It's going to come within 20,000 miles of the Earth's surface.
On Easter
That's
Sunday.
actually extremely
Very, very
close.
close.
Very, very, very close.
Whoa.
So 23% chance it comes in contact? That's disturbing.
3%, I think they said, right? What is it?
Yeah.
2 to 3?
2 to 3%.
I think they said it was going to hit Africa, so we don't have anything to worry about.
So it's 450 meters.
Real quick, just so you guys understand, the moon is 238,900 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's passing much closer to the Earth than the moon.
90%.
And, you know, it makes you wonder, is this the reason why so many billionaires have been building bunkers?
That's what I've been talking about.
Yeah, and it's true. It's happening. A lot of people are building bunkers. A lot of billionaires and multimillionaires have been building bunkers, and they've been doing it for the last decade. And what do they know that the rest of us don't?
So yeah, like if you know anything about ritual magic, especially in the Golden Dawn current, you should know about the analysis of the keyword. You know, of course, like you take in the energy of 3 Egyptian god forms, but they also connect it to like the ideas of Christ, being slain and risen and things of that nature. But you also have the idea of Osiris slain and risen, as they would say. And of course you would have Isis. But then you have Apophis, and Apophis is also representative of I think Set. Maybe I forgot. I'm gonna have to Google it. God, what kind of occultist am I? Who slayed Osiris? Who slayed Osiris? Oh, I was right. Yeah. Hey. I'm a good occultist. But anyway, yeah. So, in the ritual, you're like taking in all these energies and stuff like that. And you're like, going through the narrative and stuff like that. And you're basically talking about, you're going over how like the idea of INRI, which is supposedly what they put above Jesus whenever he was crucified. And the first phrase that you would know like exoterically would be, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And like, that's how it would be in Latin. I can't think of the Latin phrase. Well, it also represents another Latin phrase, which is an alchemical phrase, which I cannot think of it in Latin either, but the translation is through fire, nature is perfectly renewed. And so it's interesting how the ritual calls on the Abrahamic god form, if you will, of Apophis, because like Apophis connects to Revelation. Oh my goodness. My throat has been really messing with me. I'm thinking about getting it checked out because it feels funny when I start talking after a while. And I'm wondering if I have like a nodule in my vocal cord because I can't hit certain notes sometimes whenever I'm doing certain things. And so I'm like, did I like push myself whenever I was like vibrating or something? But it could just be like, normal tiredness that happens. But anyway, enough about vocal fatigue. But yeah, so I find that very interesting. So I think that's like that's one of the things like I think the ritual is literally talking about, that you have like something that like has been flying around Earth and is going to hit Earth one day. Maybe, I don't know if it's don't exactly hit Earth, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like, they blame supposedly a meteor hitting the Earth and it wiped out the dinosaurs, right? And it's really interesting because whenever I started doing research on the pole shift and stuff like that, it seems like, during these times, whenever the pole shift happens, because of the magnetism and like the force of the sun when things are happening, like, how things are shifting and things of that nature, it tends to bring debris into, into the area where our solar system is and stuff like that. And so, like, Earth and all the planets of the solar system, really, like even the sun itself, like, will be hit by things and things like that. So, like, really, this like is no shock to me, really. I think that's all we got in relation to that. So, like, one thing. Wait, hold on. What is this? What is these? Yeah, no. I don't know what I was gonna talk about with that, but let's see. Oh no, here's one more. And then we'll go on to like what's going on with like the whole Trump thingy.
Do the important work. Help you all understand that your hard-earned dollars, your taxpayer money, is going to Congress so they can do the important work that you know they're doing.
These motherfuckers sleeping on our dime.
Mrs. Fishbach. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore.
There's some more sleepy boys.
They're sleeping! They're literally sleeping on the job. Anybody else would get fired for that. Help you all understand that your hard-earned dollars.
I was fired from a job once from sleeping on it. I'm not gonna lie. That happens. But yeah, no, Congress shouldn't be like that. That's horrible. Let's see. So yeah, things are getting like weirder with Trump. I'm not saying like he's doing anything weird. Hold on, let me clear some of this out before I start going. And like, okay, and look at this. Did I even talk about this? I don't think I did. Fuck the GOP, okay? I'm so tired of like the fucking Republicans. It's so crazy. It's so crazy for them to say that we need to get Americans off the sidelines. Yeah. Uh-huh. I just showed you a clip of Congress fucking sleeping. Jesus. Talking about being like unaware. Yeah, man. What does that even say? Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Hold on. We're gonna move on, y'all, I promise. Just trying to get a little more organized. Okay. Here we go. So, anyway, Trump has been in the Middle East and he has been basically meeting every Middle Eastern country besides Israel. Now, I think that's going to be shocking to a lot of people because, like, you have images of Trump at the Wailing Wall wearing like a kippah and, just like being really buddy with Netanyahu and Israel, period. And it's really been the case, like, for that, like, with every American president. Like, let's, be real. Come on. It's just been a thing. Like, every American president has capitulated to Israel. And I found it really odd and interesting that Trump didn't pick something like that up whenever he was in his first term. And, you know, because he was like so aware of so many things. But then I started becoming aware of something. I was like, oh, he like acts like he's like being buddy with certain people, and then he like ends up like using the knowledge that he gains, you know, against them in some way. I think he did that with Israel. I think he like got really buddy with Israel. He wanted to understand the nature of the relationship between Israel and America, so he could start doing what he needed to heal the problems of the, like, you know, to help heal the problems of the Middle East. Now, there's some interesting problems that are going to be happening from the stupid like peace deals that are made. I think a lot of great things are going to happen. Okay. And I think that it was an awesome move. And I like the good and energy that Trump is trying to create. And obviously, like, it's working because there's a lot of peace going on right now in the Middle East. But what I'm afraid of is like a lot of this stuff is going to have to take effect after his presidency, because, you know, that's the way it's set up. So I can't imagine. I just like, I don't know how real that's going to be, like how that's going to take effect. Okay, that's me complaining about what's going on, right? But really, he's doing great stuff, because like the Middle East is like, first of all, stoked as hell to meet him and like have him there. And like I said, there's a lot of peace going on. There's not people, they're not fighting like they've been doing. They've been bombing the shit out of each other. But this is only one procession. He's been having a lot of amazing processions. The one he had in UAE was really awesome. I actually pissed off a lot of people on that one. So yeah, they're really stoked on him. Good God. Speaking of allergies, like, we've been having thunderstorms and everything, and I'm just like feeling all the pressure from that damn storm. And it's like messing with my sinuses. And like, okay, one of the things that people are going to say is that Trump is, you know, oh, he's anti-Semitic. I mean, they've been trying to say that forever now, right? Like, Trump's a Nazi, you know. Oh. Well, I mean, look, there's no Nazi on earth ever since the beginning of Nazism and anti-Semitism. Has there been a group of anti-Semitics that have, you know, praised Jews or created a day for Jews or whatever, anything like that, you know, or recognized Jews on a specific day? Yeah, never happened. So, like,
very happy Jewish Heritage Month. This May, we celebrate the incredible contributions that the Jewish citizens have made to our country, and they are many. Since all the way back before our nation's founding, Jewish citizens have been part of this fabric of this wonderful American republic. Over the generations, they've become many of our greatest scientists, doctors, artists, jurists, and certainly business people, including Albert Einstein, George Gershwin, Henry Kissinger, Milton Friedman, and so many others. America is the home of the largest Jewish population outside of Israel by far, and we will always defend our people and our religious believers. That's why we have taken unprecedented action to end the scourge of anti-Semitism, and our streets and our schools and college campuses will be safe. In America, we will respect, honor, and cherish our Jewish community every single day. Happy Jewish Heritage Month to all, and thank you very much.
Yeah, that's all great and everything, but I hope like there's no more of that anti-Semitism speech laws. Like I hated those so much, and like just when I hear and say anti-Semitism work, like I just like think more of those speech laws, and those are the things that I hate that Trump has done. But look, like the thing is though that Trump is so effective. Like he's making peace. He is like he's actually bringing the economy back, and it's like really fucking crazy because it seemed almost unimaginable. And there's just a lot of amazing things that are happening, and this is only like the first year of the next 3 to 4 years that we have with Trump, and it's just amazing what he's getting done. Now there's a lot more that needs to be done. Of course, we need Congress to like codify a lot of these things. Like we need to turn these things into law. If they don't turn these into amendments and stuff like that, these things will not have any continuity at all, because these are just what is it? Executive orders. There you go. These are just executive orders, and so any executive action can reverse it. So we really need Congress to do their job and stop fucking sleeping. And actually gets just like fucking do something. Like I'm so tired of Congress. I'm so just like thinking about Congress makes me so tired in my soul. But the fucking the left is just completely apoplectic, and they're freaking out because Trump is actually like getting shit done, and like just listen.
Obviously, we have got to fight Trump every day because he is the most dangerous president, perhaps in American history. But we've got to do more than that. We have to have a vision, Stephen, of where we want this country to go. And we don't have that discussion. Why is it that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got to fight Trump.
I'm not for like the universal health care bullshit and all that, but he's right about the fact that the left doesn't have a vision for America. And that's the reason why Trump has been beating them out for so long, because they've only been the party of no to Trump, and that's all they've been about, like is hate against Trump. That's it. If they actually took Bernie Sanders seriously and like listened to Bernie Sanders, they would have a real vision. I think they did have a certain vision, and I think that's like when they tried to implement it, it turned into like kids getting their genitals mutilated, for the sake of gender dysphoria or some shit like that. Trans kids, whatever. It's just horrible. And so now you have a major problem happening. Like not only are these like lower courts bullshitting the whole process of what we're trying to do, but now you have the Supreme Court being fucking bitches when it comes to immigration. They're preventing Trump to go forward with his immigration plan. And so he has all these things working against him. It's so crazy. And then not only that, but you have this crazy shit. The whole 86-47. God, that is so scary and bad and not good. Of course, 86 is a sign of assassination. And then 47 is, Trump is the 47th president. And then Comey is over here trying to bullshit everybody over here, and he's trying to walk everything back. And he goes, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. Right when he saw it, he assumed it was a political message. Well, yeah, and the gravity of it is fucking crazy. And so anyway, I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. Bullshit. 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 That is fucking lie. It has to be a lie, y'all. You don't understand. This motherfucker was the fucking head of the FBI. Like how does James Comey not know that 86 means to take someone out? And then he says it like, and then he tries to connect it to like 1930s soda shops and bullshit like that, which, like, okay, yeah, I get that. That might be where it started. But for him to say, I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. Bullshit. God, he like, again, he was the head of the FBI. How does he not know that? And then you got the Krasensteins, the fucking Krasensteins, man. Oh my God. Dude, these people are evil. They're really evil because if, like, right now, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, if you're watching this, go to X and look at these people's page. They're like, sometimes I'm like, they have to be a fucking parody. They have to be. Because the things they say, their point of view is just like so foreign to me. And like, I swear to God, some of the things they say, I think they're like mocking leftist. It feels like they're almost mocking leftist. But it's not even like doing it in a way to like make fun of them. But it's like they're mocking leftists to grift and make all this money off of leftists. But it's like you can see like the sadism in it. Like you can see how they're like fucking with people's heads and saying certain shit that's like super hyperbolic and crazy. And then like this right here, this whole 86 47 thing, like, no, and they're all repeating it. And you know, since like Ed Krasenstein and his brother, I forgot his fucking brother's name. I always see Ed all the time. I don't know why, but I like rarely see his brother. And anyway, and then like, so now all these other leftists are saying 86-47 because like for a while now you've been having leftists this whole time calling for the assassination of Trump. I like, man, like right whenever I feel like things are like cooling down and calming down and everything, like the left does something like really off the wall and like does something that's like crazy violent. And like, look at this. Like, okay, look, this is a perfect case in point. RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr. This man, his uncle, his father, I think his brother, all have been like politically have been literally assassinated, like killed for their politics. And you know, and it's all been done by the government and stuff like we all know. Come on. It's the Kennedys. And so, like, you know, if there's any motherfucker out here that's like afraid of being assassinated right now, of course it's RFK. Well, of course Trump too, because like someone came really fucking close the whole year, right? Well, here we are, and RFK is like having this oversight hearing for God knows what. It's probably something to do with vaccines or something. I can't remember specifically. I mean, I think it was like multiple things. I think they just wanted to know what his department was doing. But anyway, watch this.
It supports these goals and reflects.
The witness will suspend. The committee will come to order.
Like that's
Capitol Police are asked to remove the individuals from the hearing room.
This guy over here.
Members of the audience,
I believe,
are reminded disruption
is one of the Ben and Jerry's guy, because people were like sharing this video and saying, you know, oh, we got to boycott Ben and Jerry's now, y'all. I'm thinking, oh, okay, I guess that's the guy from Ben and Jerry's. So I don't know. But like, I mean, I don't think we should be buying that ice cream anyway, because the assholes have been saying like weird shit about Trump and the Trump administration since the beginning. But yeah, I really think right now, like, Comey is being investigated, and like, man, like, just think about it, y'all. Think about how dangerous that is. How anybody, like, you know, I could see people making an argument about people on TikTok and bullshit like that, and letting them say what they want to say, whatever. I think you'd have more of an argument there. But right now, you have people on a high level, like Comey, who used to be the head of the FBI, making innuendos about Trump being assassinated. And of course, they're not going to do it, right? It's not going to be like the people from Congress that are saying bullshit like that, like Maxine Waters. And it's not going to be Comey that pulls the trigger or anything like that. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to stoke up people doing it. They're trying to get someone else to do it. Every time they utilize this kind of rhetoric, it's always to summon up that energy to get people to do it for them. They're calling up their flying monkeys. And it's horrible. It's horrible how they manipulate people like that. It's like, and it's because they really think that Trump is this like monumental threat to the country. All I can say is that Trump is going to have to suspend habeas corpus on these people. If he doesn't do it, I mean, as far as the courts are going and everything like that, we're going to lose our country. With all this like illegal immigration and all of these people who don't care about our country and want to keep breaking our laws and stuff like that, it's going to keep reflecting worse on us. It's going to keep getting worse until we do something about it. And obviously, when he does the things he does, good things happen. We should continue with that. And we should keep on doing it in the humane manner that Trump is trying to do it. The fact that he has to go as far as like trying to like strip people's rights away and suspend, by suspending habeas corpus and like taking these extra constitutional powers into effect because these motherfuckers don't want to fucking do their job. Hell, who can blame him? It would actually be morally incorrect if Trump didn't do it. Trump has to do it. Trump has to do it. If he doesn't do it, man, I can just only imagine. And I can say all kinds of crazy things and whatever, and open up a can of worms for people to feast upon and reflect back at me. But that's not the point of this. And it's not the point to stoke fear either. It's just that this stuff has to be reflected in a reasonable manner. It has to be shown that people are disgruntled and don't like what's happening. And I'm sure none of y'all like this. If you like any of the crap that's happening to Trump and what's happening to our country, like you're fucking weird. Like I don't know what else to say. Like you're crazy. The mind and point of view that you have is really odd, and you are destroying everything we hold dear in this country. All the rights, all the freedoms, and everything comes from the ideas and the cultural limitations we put on ourselves and stuff like that. It's the struggle, it's the beauty, it's the tension that creates these things. Like, think about art. and like Michelangelo. God, those people were so fucking like sexually repressive that they wore fucking 16 layers of clothes, okay? But not Michelangelo, but Leonardo. No, yeah, Michelangelo. And then Michelangelo ends up making the David, you know? Like ends up making like nude art that is like so soul stirring. Like some people cry when they see it, you know? Like that kind of stuff is born out of the tension of culture and religion and the state all pulling at the strings of our heart and who we want to be and stuff like that. Without these tensions and stuff like that, and without these specific limitations to sustain our culture, it'll be all for naught. Everything we hold dear and beautiful is just gonna be gone. And that's all I gotta say. We gotta love our culture. We gotta love who we are. We gotta love tradition. It is what it is. But even though tradition might be the way, and that might be repressive and suppressive to people, the thing is that you have to find the liberation in it. You have to find the lotus in the mud, if you will. You have to find the perfect ground for the acorn to be buried in to grow that tree. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I love you all. Have an amazing week. I hope you come for the Sunday service, which always happens at 9 a.m. on Sunday now. Please come. It will be nice. And I hope you'll like the video that I released here lately. I think I'm like getting way better at these videos. I'm getting way better at my pacing and things like that. But it's all because of y'all. It's all because y'all show up and I keep showing up for y'all. And I love that so much. And I feel like, something is really being built here. And I feel a lot of peace around that. I love you all. Y'all have an amazing week. Goodbye. Always